Welcome, Army fans. This is Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com, along with frequent GBK guest analyst Alex Aukerman, class of 2018, former Army linebacker. Alex, tough loss today, but got to be pretty excited about the way they went into a hostile environment in Tulane, played maybe one of the best couple teams in the conference down to the last minute and had opportunities to win.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to take from the game. I think they showed improvements in a lot of areas. And yeah, it was just one of those tight fought games where the ball bounced the wrong way towards the end. And it is what it is. They'll go back and they'll get better for it. So, it's a tough one. You gotta take it on the chin. You have a bad taste in your mouth, but you gotta go out, next game and get a W.
Yep. And I mean, the game starts off, Army gets the ball, which is never what they want. They like to defer, but lost the toss, get the ball. And they're putting together a classic Army drive, 18 plays, ate up 11 minutes and 30 something seconds. They're in scoring position. And then two key things go wrong. They get a chop block, which Army's just typically not built to defeat a 1st and 25 situation. And then Dawson Jones comes in and misses the field goal, which he redeemed himself for a little later in the game, which is great. But, with them coming out, eating up all that time off the clock, how important was it for them really to get some kind of points out of that drive and take a lead and put Tulane in an early hole?
Yeah, I mean it definitely helps, and Tulane's offense is over there. Just they had just gone through warm ups. They're warm. They're ready to get out there, and then they got to wait all that time to finally hit the field and kind of knock the rust off and get into the feeling of the game. So it was tough. You get the defense tired and all that stuff, and right out of the gate, but you can't walk away with points. That's a tough series of events, but it happens, and kickers aren't going to kick 100%, so you just got to respond, once you get out there.
Yep, absolutely. And then the defense steps up. Tulane goes right, seemed like, Coach Munkin said like 0 to 80 in like 2 seconds. I mean, they
Yep.
have a fast, super talented offense, RPOs all over the place. Retzlaff is a gunslinger, BYU transfer. The kid's super talented, and he's got a great core of receivers as well. They go down to the red zone, but then Army's defense steps up and gets a big stop in the red zone. Talk about that and kind of the momentum that created. And then we've got a play from that drive that we're going to break down where Caleb Fortner had a key stop on, I believe it was third down right before they got the fourth down stop there on 4th and short.
Yeah. And I know that was one of they were crazy high ranked last year in the red zone defense. So I know they dial up some pressures in the red zone, and that's kind of Army brand of football. Like, they're going to make it tough in the red zone. And I think the red zone defense also really benefits Army when, you're playing a team like Tulane with a lot of super fast skill guys where they don't have all that room, like they would on the opposite 20. There's not as much of a deep threat. So you can, they have to get the ball out faster, and everything is just condensed. So, that was a great play. I'm surprised the quarterback didn't just try to fall forward and he kept it in his right
He like
hand. But
then he like tried to
yeah,
like cut for a touchdown.
yeah, but hey,
Fortner
I
and
mean,
Thomas came up and stuck
he
him.
hit him solid and knocked him backwards. And I know it went to review, but
Yeah.
it was overall just a great play. The play on third was a great play. So that's how you respond to, hey, they have all this momentum now. They just had an 18 play drive. Army did all the way down, didn't result in points. Like, oh man, that's got to be killer for them. But then you go and get a turnover on downs. It's like, all right, it's 0-0. They almost cancel each other out. Like, all right, now we just have less time left in the game, and it's tied still. So that was a great play by the defense overall.
Yep. So let's take a look at this. Let's see. Screen. Okay. All right. Um, So, yeah, I think this is the play. Can you see my screen, Alex?
I can. Yep.
Okay. So, let me get this bar out of your way here so you can actually analyze this. Okay. Here you go. Talk about Army's defensive set here and what you see as this play starts to materialize.
Yeah, I mean it's just a great play by Fortner. I mean, I think it's a design QB draw.
Yeah.
For how quick he brings it down, it's seems like it's by design. And yeah, I mean, he just meets him right in the hole. He's watching the quarterback, reacts well, and at the point of contact, you can't get pushed backwards on that, or it's a first down, and he pulls him back. So you see everybody on the Army defense kind of run into the ball. That kind of swarm like defense is what you want to see. So yeah, I mean that's just a great play. And just huge stop because they're getting points if they get that first down because
Yeah.
they'll kick a field goal the next time around most likely. So
Exactly. And Fortner, I just noticed, had a nice change of direction on that.
right,
He
he
was
did.
actually scraping the other way and came back to make the
Yeah,
play, which was really nice. So,
yeah. I
yeah,
think
no,
I think
that's a
both.
really good point. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think both inside backers had a really good game. I think both
Yeah,
the safeties
I
had
agree.
they had a really good game too. So
Yeah.
they were making some plays where I know both of the safeties had some tackles that were maybe 6 yard gains, but if they don't make those tackles, it's
They were
six.
huge plays. Yeah, that's
Right.
when I looked at it, it was literally like the firsty show. It was
Yeah.
Fortner and Thomas both had an amazing game inside, and then Casey Larkin was literally all over the field. He had the
Yeah.
pick. He was involved in so many game-saving tackles, big
Right.
plays, tackles in the run game, and then Colin Madison had a couple big tackles as well back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I mean, Larkin had, I think, two plays in a row that were really impressive. And I think that hold was a pretty rough call. I don't want to blame it on the refs, but that's a little ticky tack.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. But yeah, I thought they played really well.
Good stuff. And then so next drive, Army goes down, and that was the one where they just missed. They had the play action to Brady Anderson. I
Yeah.
always get nervous when guys are that open.
Yeah.
It's like, and I know Helms was under a little bit of pressure, so he didn't get a completely clean release with his feet set, but
Yeah.
he missed them a little bit. And then Brady, it was a catchable ball, but go ahead,
Yeah.
tell me your thoughts on that one.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's definitely one they both probably want back. But I think they responded great from it. I think right after that, he was making a lot of big catches the rest of the game. No drops after that. So it happens. You definitely want those back. He'll probably be thinking about that all week. But I think it showed a lot of mental toughness to kind of put that behind you, and go out and get open, make big catches. And I think he finished with 4 catches. I know at one point he was averaging like 35 yards a catch. So there
Yeah.
there were some big ones. So. Yeah, I mean, I think he had 4 or 5 catches the rest of the game. So,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
a
Army
that's a
was 7
huge.
for 10 passing. So,
Yeah.
like,
Hey.
for the fans who are like, hey, Cody needs to open up the offense,
Right.
what, like, dude, like, Air Worley, like 7 for 10. That's not bad
Right.
for Army.
Hey, our senior year, we went and played at Tulane, and I think it was a very similar situation. We thought we should have won game-winning drive. We didn't complete a pass that game. We were 0 for
Yep.
5. So,
If
hey,
you would have had one of those, you guys might have
you're
pulled
right.
that one off. I remember that. That was the week after the Ohio
It
State game.
was.
So that was a really tough game in the schedule for you guys.
Yeah, yeah, that was one of those we wish we could get back. I think we played really well on defense, but two big plays really cost us the whole game and then the game-winning drive. But
Yeah.
that's way in the past. We don't need to talk about that.
No, that
Yeah,
was years and years ago. But no, that's a really good point. And then Tulane comes back. They get They get a field goal, and they're getting the ball first in the second half.
Yeah.
So there's danger of going down 2 scores there with them getting a score before the half, score after the half. And Army, for a team that allegedly can't, I love when people say they can't run a hurry up. Like they never practice it.
Right.
There's a minute 49 left. They get the ball back with one timeout, drive it down, get it in field goal range, and this time Dawson Jones sticks it. So talk about the importance of that drive and then being able to tie it up at 3 going into halftime.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. Exactly what you said. You don't want to be coming out of halftime saying, "Hey, we need to get a stop, or we're down 2 scores," especially when if you couldn't score in the first half. So just making it 3-3, being able to go to the locker room and essentially say, "Hey, it's 0-0. Like if we win this second half, we win the game." So I think that was a really big drive. Good to put points on the board, and show the doubters that there is a hurry up offense. When the time comes.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Yeah. And nobody's going to confuse Cale Helms for Tom Brady, but by the same token, like in Army's offense, it's just a matter of being smart with the football,
Yeah.
not making bad throws, and completing the key ones when you have to. And I thought he did a really good job of that today for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of the facets of the game Army won. They won the turnover battle. They won,
Yeah.
obviously, they're going to win most of the running attack, run
Right.
versus
That's going to
run, but
happen. But yeah.
they won that. Like they dominated fourth down. I don't think they
Yep.
missed a fourth down
Yeah, they
conversion.
were in the first half. They were 0 for 7 on third down, 4 for
Yeah.
4 on fourth down, and then in the second half they got better on third down.
Yeah, they're
So
way better on third down. So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of positives to take from this game. It's terrible to lose and you feel awful, but it's a lot better than just getting blown
yeah,
out.
and then the second half starts, and Army comes out on the back. They got the score on the front end, and then they get a 3-and-out. It was the only
Yep.
3-and-out of the day for Tulane's offense. How important is that for the defense to be able to come out against a loaded offense and go 3-and-out right out of the second half, and then give Army a chance to take the lead? Obviously,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's huge. And the opposing coaching staff that's the last thing they want. Obviously, 3-and-outs are bad, but especially when you're playing Army, because you don't know, if the same thing happened in the first quarter happens in the third quarter, it's like we're not getting the ball back till the fourth. It's like, and we
right?
might be down 7.
Exactly. And it
So
ended up, lo and behold, Army does go on a 7-minute drive, and
yeah,
Tulane doesn't get the ball back till 3 minutes left in the third, and they're down 10-3,
right.
thanks in part to this Cale Helms to Brady Anderson pass, which we're going to show. You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
All right, so Army lines up in their traditional flex bone look here. You've seen this a lot in practice, obviously.
Yep.
And Anderson is not in the, or no, is this him right here lined up as a tight end?
It looks like it.
I think that's him. Yeah, so they line him up tight. They go 2 tight ends here. So of course Tulane thinks they're running the ball. They got They got a 7-man
Yep.
front.
Strong for this Army team.
Play
Yep.
action.
I mean, yeah,
He hits Anderson.
put it right in between 3 dudes. That's
Yeah,
that's
that
a
was a
hard
nice
catch.
pass, right?
Right. Yeah. It was just
See it
very well
again here.
executed. Is this the one where it looks like they run a switch route and there's another guy like right there too? So I
Yeah,
don't
Noah
really know what
Schwartz
happened
right
there.
over the top of him. I don't know if he's supposed to be there or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it worked out.
It
So
worked. Exactly.
right. But
So
yeah,
no, he fit the ball right in between 3 defenders, which I think
yeah,
Short brought his defender into the route,
yeah,
unfortunately, but
right.
but it
Yeah, I mean,
worked.
like I said, that's the way to respond. You drop a ball like that you definitely want back, and then you have a much harder catch that you pull off and get them into first and goal. So yeah, I
Yep.
mean, just great play.
So Army takes the lead there, and then unfortunately Tulane bounces right back, ties it up 10-all with a pretty quick drive.
Yeah.
And then Army gets stopped, and Tulane's down in the red zone again, and Casey Larkin comes up with the big interception in the end zone. I don't have that play, but talk about what you remember from that play.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a great play. It again like a contested catch. The receiver's right there, and he just makes a great play on the ball. And it seems like both the safeties all year have just kind of made timely plays. Obviously, Madison took over the Kansas State game towards the end. But yeah, I thought Larkin had a great game. It was all over the field. That was kind of the play of the game for the defense, in my mind, because if they score right there, things get really dicey. So. That just completely shifted the momentum, and yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's what you
exactly.
do.
And yep, and now we're in the fourth quarter, and Army puts together another great clock eating drive. It really looks like the offensive line's starting to take over. Helm starts getting some bigger holes. I thought Carson Smith had a really good game at fullback. He does some nice things there, both blocking and running the football. Briggs Bartosh provides a nice change of pace at fullback for them as well. So I was happy to see those guys both have what I thought were pretty good games. Offensive line started to take over even with an injury to Generelli. Hopefully he'll be okay. But then they come in and just punch it in. And now with 5 minutes left in the game, they're up 17-10. They're looking good. And then Tulane drives the ball down and probably, you can point to 3 or 4 plays that kind of swung this game. One of them was the long pass to Anderson that we couldn't complete in the first half. One was a missed field goal. I think maybe the one everybody's going to remember because it was towards the end of the game is we get them in 4th and 9 from the 12. So great job by the defense to do that. And then they get, I think, their slot receiver on our outside backer, Gavin Shields. He's our Apache backer, which is like a nickel back-ish kind of
Yeah.
position in Nate Woody's defense. You know, he had decent coverage, but the kid just beat him, and Retzlaff found it. Anything you saw in that play that we
Yeah,
missed?
I mean, man, it was. I think the rush actually gets home if it's like half a second longer.
Yeah, it was
I
right
think
there. Yep.
I think he gets hit like right after he throws it and gets
Yep.
rid of it. So, I mean, yeah, it's just tough. That is probably the play that. I mean, obviously the game-winning touchdown was also the play of the game for them.
Yeah.
It's like, man, really wanted that one back, and I think all the Army fans were like, "Oh, this is it. We can get a stop right here. Like this is game."
Yeah, I mean, we
So
we probably honestly, as quick as Tulane scores, would have still needed that one first down.
yeah, but I've been it. They'd have been using
Um,
their timeouts, and yeah, so
Yeah, but and I mean, John Summerall's a great coach. He's one of the top
yeah,
G5 coaches, so does an awesome job down there. And Greg Gasparato was actually on Nate Woody's
yeah,
staff. Nate Woody was his mentor, so that when you can run the ball that well against a guy who knows exactly what you're going to do, that's
right,
that's pretty well done. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought the pressure almost got home, and it's just kind of a testament to Retzlaff and how good he is.
yeah.
Most of the most of
He's
the
rolling to
QBs
his
in the
left,
conference don't make that throw.
right. I mean, he's rolling to his left, and he like stops, turns, throws it as he's getting hit. Like, man, yeah, that's tough. I mean, a great play by them.
Yep, absolutely. So that ties it. Army really needs to get a first down, and then they can put the offense in high gear to try and get in the field goal range. Unfortunately, they don't get the first down. I interviewed Cale Hellam's post game. He answered, I don't think I asked him that question, but somebody else did. He said it was a zone play, and instead of following the zone, he tried to make a guy miss. And he said on second, he said I should have followed the zone block, and I would have gotten that. That was, but the Army players, they're always going to blame themselves for everything.
Right.
But that was his take on it. So we have to punt, and then they're freaking lightning offense just flies down the field, and
Yeah.
they're in field goal range. So whether they get the touchdown there or not, they probably put the game away if we don't pick it off.
Yep.
But man, did Jabril Williams and Colin Madison make a nice play there to deflect the ball and at least create the opportunity for an interception.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it in slow-mo, but to me, it looks like the corner is like batting it down. It goes up in the air. The receiver kind of bounces off the corner and redirects right to where the ball is landing. Madison's coming over top to where he's ready to, knock the ball loose if he catches it, tackle him right before the end zone. And then it's just like cuts right back almost. I mean, it's just
It
crazy.
was, yeah,
That's one of
like
those
the
where
amount
the
of
ball
things that
bounces.
had to happen for him to
Right.
catch that ball in the end zone. Like that was, I hate to use the word luck. I'm really an anti-luck kind of
Yeah.
guy, but that was a lucky play. Let's call it what
Right.
it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just yeah, great concentration by that guy, but man,
Mhm.
that's you can't really blame Madison for it because
No.
99 times out of 100, that's not where the ball is going to bounce. And he's just trying to be the overtop defender.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
Coach
that was
Monken said he
killer.
asked him after the play, like, you do know you can tackle the guy after it's tipped. And he's like, yeah, I know, coach. But he, like you said, he kind of
Oh yeah,
redirected in a weird way.
he was
And
way far
Madison
away.
really had no shot at him.
Yeah, I mean, where he ends up catching the ball is like 2 yards deep, like 2 yards from being out of bounds in the back of the end zone. I
Right.
mean, by the time he finally
Exactly.
catches
And it was
it,
deflected at the one in the corner. So
right? It's like, man, yeah, that was just a tough play, but
that's where it's like, if you're a golfer, you're like, it's just not my day. It's
yeah,
one of those.
yeah, it's a tough way to go out for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I mean, like losing that way is really hard. But at the beginning of the day today, if you would have told me, Army takes Tulane at their home stadium down to the end of the game and loses by a touchdown, I would have taken that all day long, honestly. Tulane is, if they're not the best team in the American, they're right there. I'd put them maybe a notch below Memphis and USF, maybe. They might
Yeah,
be just as good. But I asked Coach Monken this, and as a former player, I'm curious to get your take on it. Obviously, you want to win every game. Obviously, there's no moral victories. Like as a competitor, you hate that term. Like so do I. But like, do you think Army can build confidence from performing like this against an opponent as quality as Tulane is?
yeah, I mean, I think so. Just looking back on kind of my career there, I don't think it was almost like in the same year, but going from my freshman year to my senior year, I think my sophomore year we went 2-9 or whatever. But
Yeah,
my freshman year, even though we won 4 games, a lot of those games were, out of reach pretty quick. And we didn't have that many close losses. Second year, we had a lot of these close losses against, pretty quality teams. And so I think going into our junior year, it was like, all right, now we know, we need to make the next step. And I think we actually had more confidence, even though we had lost or we had won less games my sophomore year. I think we had more confidence going in junior year. It's like we had got a bunch of guys returning, um, and we lost so many games, but it was like, our motto was 7 stops because there were 7 games,
right.
one score. So, I think with that, you can kind of build on that. You want to be a team that finishes games and finds a way at the end. It's not always going to happen, but I think they can, you know, go to practice and they say, all right, we did a lot of good things. We learned, a lot of stuff, correct some of the mistakes. I think there weren't as many, like missed assignments this game.
Yeah, it seemed like the offensive line really didn't miss too many assignments every
Yeah,
once in a while, but not like you're right, not nearly as many. And defensively, we didn't miss a lot. We didn't have guys flying wide open down the middle of the
right.
field or whatever else.
Yeah, they didn't give up any massive plays. And there were some good chunks here and there, but when you play primarily zone defense, that's kind of part of the deal.
Exactly. That I tell people all the time. I'm like, they got so many first downs. I said, Coach Woody's not concerned with first downs. Like
yeah,
he
it's
hates when I tell him it's bend but don't break, but it's essentially it's bend but don't break.
yeah, right. And it's like, and you have a stellar red zone defense too.
Right.
So obviously you don't want to give up any points, but having no massive big plays. I don't think the offense had many negative plays. They had a few
Right.
penalties that backed them up and got them off schedule, but for the most part, I think they were pretty consistent. Obviously, if you can string together a 9-minute drive to start the game, or however long it was, 10 minute, 8 minute. I know it was
It was
Tulane.
long.
Yeah, by the end, yeah, I remember looking up. It was second down. They were only on the 35 or something, and there was under 5 minutes left. I'm like, holy cow!
They were
So
literally getting like 3 yards of play. Like it
yeah,
was 2nd and 7, like third
yeah,
and four, 4th and 1.
right. They got both fourth down conversions in the first
Yep.
half. So I mean, there's a lot that is positive you can build on, and maybe you found something here or there. You found a guy that hadn't played as much that you're like, all right, we can trust him, and we can do certain things. So yeah, I mean, there are no moral victories, but it definitely feels a lot better coming out of this game than a game where you get beat by 4 scores on a team that you think you're supposed to be pretty like similar to. So
Right. Yeah, I agree. So bye week next week for Army, and then the Commander in Chief series starts for Army. They're at Air Force, never an easy place to play. Your team happened to go in there, get a 21-0 win in Colorado Springs, which is hard to do. I think that might actually be Army's last win in Sea Springs, because we had the thing where we played them like in Arlington for a couple of years and
yeah,
Denver. We beat them in the last time 2 years ago. We beat them, but it was at Mile High. It wasn't at Air Force.
I got you.
So this will be our first time playing out there really since 2019, I think, when we lost to them by 1 score. And Air Force has shown a really good offense, but a really shaky defense so far. So might be an opportunity for Cale Helms in the off. I know it's always different when it's academy versus academy, but
Yeah.
you also know Coach Monken and Cody Worley will throw some wrinkles at Air Force as well. Army likes to tend to run a lot of gun QB follow, QB power against Air Force. That seems to be Ahmad
Mhm.
Bradshaw ate them alive with that when you were there. And then 2 years ago, Bryson Daly just destroyed him with that as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, Air Force is you don't have to rally the troops and get them up for that game. So they'll be ready. I know the coaching staff will put together a good plan. But yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity. You go out there and win that game. Um, Tulane is very old news at that
in the
point.
rearview mirror, exactly.
Yeah.
You're 1
I
0
mean,
in
you
the
already you
CIC
already kind of
battle.
have to do that, but just, when you look back on the season, you get that one, that's a huge boost.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And I know, from talking to the players and coaches all off season and all year, how much it stings that they didn't win the CIC last year, and
yeah.
they are super focused on that. So
Right.
I think it's going to be good. Well, Alex, appreciate your time. Always appreciate your insight. Great guest. So thank you for joining us. We know you're a busy guy. I think business owner, dad, all kinds of stuff going on. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Army fans. Again, the final from Tulane was Tulane 24, Army 17. Go Army, beat Air Force.
Thanks, Joe. Beat Air Force.